and then lots of work to be done. No place to hang out or washing, and then I can't blame all on the sun. Oh no, we're gonna rock down to Electric Avenue, and then we'll take it higher.
Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. It's your host, David McCaig, and I'm here outside from Northern Superior Brewing Company at Pier 55. It's a beautiful afternoon, a Sunday afternoon, July the 14th, 2019. God, did I ever get some sun yesterday, and I want to continue getting some sun, and I'm doing so right in the sun here at Pier 55. We're on the cusp of the Hub Trail. They got delicious beer, they got great staff, great service, and they have a Sunday special, calamari and a pint for $10. Calamari and a pint for $10, that's a great deal. Come on down and check out the Pier. It's right across from the Bush Plane, and as I mentioned, on the cusp of the Hub Trail. You're listening to The Game Sports Show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or through our social media outlets on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. And speaking of Facebook and Instagram, don't forget about our contest giveaway. The draw will be this Tuesday, July the 16th, live on ONNTV from our Tuesday show for our Facebook and Instagram giveaway draw. What do you get to win? You get to win a $25 gift certificate to Northern Superior Brewing Company on both draws. And for Facebook, there's a free pizza and wings through Instagram as well. Free food, free beer. You can't go wrong. All you got to do is look at the post, like the post if you want, sure, but make sure you comment. You know, the pages have been sponsored through all social media pages. We've been getting a lot of likes on the page, especially on the sponsorship pages through Instagram and Facebook. We want to make sure that our listeners/viewers get a chance to get the rules and details correctly. Make sure you comment a friend. And as I mentioned, if that friend likes, follows, and comments afterwards, you get your name entered into win a bonus draw. And that bonus draw will be on the following week on ONNTV that we will have. So you have 2 days left to get your name in on the draw for the Game Sports Show giveaway. I want to give a shout out to Scott Neeson, who will be our main board operator tonight, as yours truly will be his assistant doing the editing, then send it over to him where he finalizes the product. And I want to say thank you, Northern Superior, and to the listeners for coming on by. I got my friend, newcomer to the show of sorts now. It's been well over a month now, but works for Sault Online, ONNTV. He's a great guy, great sports analyst. Alex Parr.
Please,
Alex.
keep going. Go on. I'm great. Thank you.
You're great?
Thank you.
Having a great weekend so far?
Oh, my goodness, absolutely. And now getting to not wrap it up quite yet, but wrap it up for the Sunday, a beautiful Pier 55.
Yeah, come down to the Pier for a great beer.
Yep, we're going to keep that train moving.
I like that. It's just me and you today. Justin is not feeling well, under the weather. I almost made sure. Under the weather. I almost said the wrong term there. But he is not feeling well, so he will not be here today. So, Justin, hopefully you feel better. You know, and it's not fun being sick in the summer.
No, that's the key time that you do not want to be sick.
No, and you shouldn't be getting sick.
No.
You got to take care of yourself there, Justin. But anyway, Alex, you and I have an action-packed show as always. People always wonder, what are you going to talk about 4 times a week in the summer? You know what? We figured out there's a lot of news. It's been a great off season terms of sports.
Yeah,
NHL, NBA.
They've been doing us favors big time.
Oh, yes. The media companies throughout Canada, throughout the United States, everyone has been treated to some luxury with all this news. And especially the Game Sports Show has been treated to some great news with our ESPN partnership that we announced just last week.
Still mind-blowing stuff to me.
That's absolutely amazing. ESPN and then ESPN 1400 and Sovereign Communications. So having the major juggernaut of ESPN, but then having Sovereign Communications and ESPN 1400 doing more live shows throughout the year. We do not have full details about how everything's going to go yet, but we are going to be starting, from what I'm being told, in the coming weeks in terms of starting Monday on the ESPN 1400, and then we'll have some more details to follow maybe throughout the month of August, going into September, what our show schedule is going to be throughout the week, as things might be altering, not in terms of shows or locations, but in terms of agendas on those respective shows, depending on what happens in terms of live. We're going to have more live content. We're going to be able to be met on Podbean, but also Spotify when that gets all launched. And we're going to have an enhanced website launched by September as well. And as I mentioned on the Twin Sault's only local regional sports show, we always got action-packed agendas. And we're working on some great guests for the summer. And this season, however, when hockey, Algoma basketball, in terms of local high school football, or any Lake Superior State University, the Sioux Greyhounds, NHL hockey, as I said, or any kind of professional sports, we have a big list of guests that we're going to be having on, hopefully weekly, potentially bi-weekly, but we're going to give you the best that we can here for the best here in the Sioux.
Easiest to say this is the hardest you've had to work on the show so far throughout these last 4 years?
Yes, I would say that is.
Yeah.
That is. And, what's nice about it is doing the coverage on the local side, obviously, but then having that presence on the professional side now especially, and just gaining those connections. And speaking of connections, Jeff Lobman, a friend of mine that I played hockey with in my Blind River Beaver days. Who would have thought? Something popped up on my Facebook with him, and he saw something on my Facebook from the ESPN announcement. The AP Hockey Development has started their spring clinic, and Jeff Lobman and I were going to be doing some collaboration in terms of some promotion for one another. So you're going to start hearing about AP Hockey Development. Check out their website, aphddelite.com, and you can check it out. And they have all the information on there. Contact them. They have clinics. They have professional hockey players that are involved in the clinics, including Marcus Foligno and Nick Foligno, etc., which helps us here with the Game Sports Show because we're working with Jeff as Jeff works with those players, and we hope to have those guests on here as well. So we'll keep branching here on the Game Sports Show to do a lot of guest work. So we're going to make sure that we bring you the best that we can here going forward on the Game Sports Show. So, Alex, tonight's agenda, though, we're going to be talking about some NHL discussion to
as
a brief
always
that we have here at the start. When we come back from break, we're going to talk baseball.
Okay.
Local baseball. We're going to talk a little bit of Blue Jays, and then something amazing happened.
That is the only word that you can use to describe it.
Tyler Skaggs, Amazing Angels is what I want to say. We're going to talk about that briefly here on the Northern Superior Edition show. It is about hockey, baseball, and some other hot topics as well. And I know there is some NBA news, but we are going to save that for our Wednesday show from Sports Center Bar and Grill. And speaking of this week, we will have a show tomorrow from 6 to 8 that will be on the podcasted side and promoted by ESPN, but we will not be on ESPN 1400 as far as I'm aware. Starting next week, we will give you details when we are. Tuesday will be at ONNTV. That'll be at 6:30. Myself and Alex will be on, potentially Justin, and we're waiting on Brendan Brooks, who also was supposed to make it here today, but unfortunately he is unable to do some personal matters. So that'll be Tuesday. Wednesday, I will not be hosting Wednesday unless it rains, because I have a baseball game Wednesday, a makeup game. So unless that game gets canceled, I will not be hosting. Alex Parr and Jamie Antonello will be doing co-hosting and hosting duties, and Justin Heiko will be there as well, and potentially Dustin Grahn. And then obviously next week here from Northern Superior, myself, Alex, and Justin and Brendan are planned to be here as well. And hopefully this week got some more big announcements in terms of guests. As Alex knows, we've been working on some guests coming in the coming weeks.
Yeah, you guys are going to want to pay attention to all of the social medias for the Game Sports Show. Big stuff.
Big stuff. But make sure that about that contest giveaway, though. Who doesn't want free beer and food?
Right.
Right?
Pizza, wings, some beers. That's all you need in a night.
I'm not saying that we're not getting any. You guys, the fans have been great, commenting, liking, and doing everything.
Absolutely.
But make sure you get your name in there. Get your name in there. Get some free booze. Some free booze.
Some free booze.
Some free booze.
All right.
That's food and beer
All right.
mixed. Okay. So free beer and free food. You cannot go wrong.
Yeah, and I've noticed we have gotten quite a few new likes on the Facebook page. So if anybody's a new listener right now, welcome. Thank you for coming along on the journey.
Yep.
We got big things coming too. So now you can say when we're big, famous superstars that, hey, I knew them before they made it.
No, I like that. I like that. See, now the Facebook page, we actually started back in October was when the page was launched. But then we started doing more traction. Myself and Justin needed some assistance in terms of some, let's just say, some media and everything. And then we got on Instagram and everything started booming from there. So the likes to like the page were sent in October. You may have looked at the page and said, what the heck is this? You may have passed that like and not liked it, and you're wanting to look at some sports. Don't hesitate to veer back. If, like Alex said, if you are a new listener, just hearing about the Game Sports Show, make sure you give our social media pages a like. Now, that's been about 8 minutes and 25 seconds there, Alex, of talking about a bunch of, as people would say, nonsense, but we'd like to give everyone a little bit of a fresh start to our show and give all the information that we can. So we're going to jump right into the show right now, and I want to say something locally here first with Dom Deluca and his Driven Hockey Camp that he started. He is doing another camp next week, and I was trying to reach Dom for comment. He is expected to get back to me, so hopefully I have some comments this week and some presence there with him in terms of this camp as he gets professional hockey players to go out. Brett Finley, he gets Colin Miller out there as well. There's also involvement with Brian Rust. Brian Rust actually just getting married to Kelsey Burton, somebody that I grew up with younger because of her brothers, Jarrett and Tanner Burton.
No way. Okay.
And so it's been a pretty busy summer here in the Sioux, especially for some local professional players, including Colin Miller, who's doing renovations and him being traded, obviously. But make sure you check out the Facebook page for the Driven Hockey Development Camp. It is absolutely amazing and just great for kids to get out. If you want to go out, there may still be some spots. You never know. Reach out to Dom and see if you can get in this week coming up on Monday to get your summer bod in shape for the hockey season coming up. And as I mentioned, make sure you check out AP Hockey Development. I'm greatly to say that it'd be great to get some extra news and some publicity there through AP Development, but also, to be working together. We're doing some stuff in the future with AP and also through Jeff Lobman. So that's kind of a local recap of everything. When it comes to the Sioux Thunderbirds and the Sioux Eagles, it's been kind of quiet on the front. We obviously know the schedule of the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and it's going to be a busy year, not just for the Game Sports Show on the professional level with sports, but on the local level with covering the Lakers, the Hounds, the Thunderbirds, the Eagles, Oklahoma University basketball team, etc. that we're doing all the coverage for.
High school sports
as well. See, there's even some that I forget about. So we got a lot that we're going to jump into when it comes to the season, when it comes to hockey, especially hockey. It's going to be action-packed. But we're going to transition from the local side and go right into the professional side of hockey right now. There are still some big names that are out there that aren't signed. Mitch Marner.
Patrick Laine.
Mikko Rantanen. Matt Tkachuk. Brock Besser. Charlie McAvoy. Now, McAvoy will remain a Bruin. He just built to be a Boston Bruin, it seems like.
Marner will remain a Leaf.
Yeah, I think Marner will remain a Leaf because
I guarantee it.
Here's the problem. If someone wants to offer him 10.5 and under, they'll match it.
Yep.
And they'll make it work. Dubas is a genius. He will make it work. If someone wants to offer him 10.6, we'll probably still match it. I think if it goes 11 and up, if it's like an 11 million for 8 years, which he actually refused with the Leafs before, if he takes something 11 for 4, I think that's where Dubas is really going to say, okay, I'm going to take the couple days to think, because that's 4 first-round picks, and we've talked about it on the show. And I'm not confident about giving someone $11 million, but I know Panarin just got $11 million, and would I rather Marner or Panarin? I'm being biased, potentially taking off my host hat and put my fan hat on here. Being a Leaf fan, I would want Marner, but that's not fair for me to say either, because Panarin has kind of proved
very
consistent. Carried a team. He's done that before, but Marner carried the team when Matthews wasn't there. But it's kind of a coincidence where Marner got 20-plus more points when Tavares showed up. If Tavares wasn't there, would he have done the same with Matthews? Would he have done the same on his own line if he had Tyler Bozak again? It all depends who you play with. And that's where Mitch Marner, I think, is in his first time getting a contract. If he takes a bridge deal, he's worried about his security if he gets hurt. His production goes down. And then he still remains an RFA after that, and the Leafs owner's right. So I bet you that's hard to sign a bridge deal.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables in that. He doesn't want to go too long, because if you don't go 8 years, you can re-sign again for when the cap goes up, assuming it will continue to. He can sign for more money in a few years. But then he wanted, I believe it was 4 years, but Matthews is at 5, so it's too close. You don't really want to have contracts expiring that close together.
No.
And then it brings you to a bridge deal, which I don't think is going to happen.
No.
Marner's definitely staying a Leaf. The only way that I can ever see him leaving is if somebody gives him stupid money, which is
like 12, 13.
McDavid, more than McDavid money, where he goes, financially, it would be stupid for me to say no. He wants to be a Leaf. We've all seen that video of him in skates as 3 years old saying, my favorite team's the Toronto Maple Leafs. I still think that kid's inside of him. He's not going anywhere. He'll even take a little bit of a pay cut if a team says, here's 11.5, maybe he doesn't take it and takes that 10.5. I think he's just doing what he deserves to do and using his bargaining rights. He knows the Leafs are pressed, so they're going to try and use that to his advantage. But I think it's just going to come to a stalemate where Marner goes, all right, this is the money you have to offer me. This is what I will take. I see nothing's changing.
Now, as soon as he goes, that's when the dominoes are going to fall down. Rantanen's waiting. Tkachuk's waiting. Laine thinks he's worth 10. I don't think he is, to be honest. I know he's a pure goal scorer, but I was absent this year. He had a bad year this year. And honestly, if I'm the Winnipeg Jets, call me crazy, because I'd like to make crazy assumptions. Why not move Laine for Rantanen?
Wow.
Why not?
That's bold.
Why not bring that in? Why not potentially do that trade, a little change, but then you're trading the second overall pick. But I just feel like Winnipeg is going through a different overhaul with Trouba not being there. Myers.
If you're Colorado, do you take that deal though? Probably not.
Depends.
I know who I want right now, and that's Mikko Rantanen.
Imagine McKinnon playing with Laine, though. That you got to think of the pure goal scorer aspect. When you think of a pure playmaker in McKinnon, you got to think of that. Look, Joe Sakic can be like listen, Laine, you're going to be playing with somebody named Nathan McKinnon. You're not going to be playing with Mark Scheifele. Is great and all, but I'm sorry. As Colin Miller has attested to on this show during the hockey season last year, the hardest player to play against is Nathan McKinnon. Putting Crosby and McDavid aside on obvious points, McKinnon is a just flash of brilliance out there. He's built like a truck for his size. He's fast, smart hockey player, and
beautiful hands, silky smooth, just.
Laine would get, don't get me wrong, Scheifele is great too.
Oh, Scheifele's amazing. I think he's a little underrated, to be honest.
Yes, but obviously McKinnon is an upgrade a bit from Scheifele, okay? And McKinnon, I think, would bring out the best in terms of Laine in that aspect, where Rantanen isn't afraid to be in the corners, isn't afraid to work and grind out and score. And he's also finesse, which I think is perfect for Scheifele to play with because he has the same mentality. So that's where I kind of see that working out. Tkachuk will remain a Flame. I just can't see him leaving Calgary.
No, not really. No.
And McAvoy will remain a Flame or a Bruin. Sorry, yeah. Brock Besser will remain a Canuck. He wants to stay there. They have the money.
RFAs moving is a very, very rare thing.
It is.
So it's safe to assume that they'll probably end up staying.
Yeah, and I'm just assuming. I think Laine and Rantanen are going to sign in the respective teams now, but Laine is going to be prepared to take a pay cut or a bridge deal.
Who's the most likely of the RFAs that you think would move?
Laine.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Laine. I just Colorado. They'd have been making bold moves this summer so far. They want a little shakeup, and you have the presence of Laine in that team. I just think would fit perfectly in Colorado. It just kind of makes sense. I really feel that if you have Rantanen in a Laine deal, I don't know if that would be straight up or if a 3rd round pick this year, then a 3rd rounder for 2022 or something, just to kind of sweeten the pot a little bit, or how that would potentially work. I know the Jets are a team that want to be a playoff team, and I hope that they are a playoff team, especially if they have Kyle Connor there, you got Scheifele, you have Roslovic there, you got Bufflin, and you got Hellebuyck. You still got a good nucleus of guys there, but I think Laine was in Winnipeg last year, and he kind of diminished his value on his poor play. And he was not the player that everyone wanted him to be last year. Rantanen just was a beast last year. And
best line in hockey.
It was. And, obviously Colorado wants to keep that, and they would potentially be foolish to change it. But I would be more confident giving Rantanen 10.5 than I would Laine right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to knock Laine too much. One bad season where, maybe it was the nerves that it was his contract year and he really had to perform. The team didn't play that bad without him performing at his
Imagine
absolute
if he
peak.
did perform.
See, that's what I'm saying too. I feel like Winnipeg will be like, you know what, I think we know what we got here. But to give him 10.5, oof. I think you'll see him get a bridge deal. I think you'll see him get a 2-year.
He's got to get the bridge deal.
He'll get a 2-year, maybe a Nylander-ish money, maybe a little bit higher, like Nylander, Leon Draisaitl kind of money.
So 8.5, 9.
Yeah.
Is it 7? So you got to look at probably Draisaitl money makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah, I mean, their backs are kind of against the wall. Laine knows where they are. Winnipeg knows where they are. They can't. It's too much of a risk to sign anything longer than, say, 4 years.
Yeah, no, and if you do 4 years at 9, I think that'd be a good deal to lock up Laine. Anything above, let him go. I think offer sheets could be an option there too. If someone wants to get more than 10.5, Winnipeg should take that.
Yeah.
If that's somebody that if he's offered an offer sheet for 10.5 and up, go. See ya. We'll take the 4 first-round picks.
But it wasn't even that long ago people were saying that, no, this guy is definitely better than Matthews. Look at this, and he was just incredible in his first 2 seasons.
Centers are different than wingers.
They are.
And I don't it's hard to compare centers to wingers. It truly is. How you can say someone goes 1-2, sure, somebody's career might be better. You can look at the end of the career, but center is a different position, different responsibilities. Wingers, different responsibilities. They aren't as low in the corner as much offensively. Okay, the center's got to do the help with the assist, the breakout. They're dependent on carrying the rush, quarterbacking the play in the offensive zone. And then in defensive zone, they've got to cover the centerman and be down low with the defense. They're working. The wingers are, are high on the boards or high on the point. So it's a different position, but you still have value, obviously, because if you're an elite winger like Panarin, Draisaitl, who plays center and wing, which is amazing. I chirped the Draisaitl deal to no end.
Oh,
but,
did I ever
But
too.
You know what? I am so sorry because I cannot believe right now I would take Draisaitl for 8.5 than an 11.5 Marner. I'm sorry. But I'm not saying Draisaitl is better than Marner, but I'm just saying the contract world, man.
What does Draisaitl do without McDavid? Does he still put up these crazy numbers? Not as crazy.
Not
as crazy because McDavid would help me score. I could put up
think
points.
He'd be at Tavares level. I think he'd be at a Tavares level. Like, I think he'd be Tavares 80 point a year.
Okay.
To 90.
Yeah,
That's what I mean. But there's other players that get 80 to 90 points. Tavares came to the top of my mind.
I'm thinking, like, how many goals did Tavares finish with this year?
40.
High 40s.
High 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, when you said John Tavares, that's what I'm thinking now, too. But you got to feel bad for Draisaitl and McDavid, Nurse. You got to feel bad for those guys. Like,
yeah, you have Nurse, who's been subject of rumors too and potential trades. Now, people that have the availability to do offer sheets, Columbus Blue Jackets apparently have the willingness to do it.
Well, they don't have anything else.
They don't.
They don't have picks. They don't have
the New York Islanders. There's another team that have the willingness to do picks.
Yeah, with a smart front office there too.
Yeah, they do. The Ducks have the money to do it. The Habs.
Yep.
So
they already tried. They tried with Aho.
They did.
I can't wait to see how Carolina's going to try to make that work.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I don't know. And they just signed, and obviously Carolina just signed Ryan Dzingel, $3.375, and Michael Ferland goes to the Vancouver Canucks. And so you have some UFAs that are falling. I'm a fan of Michael Ferland.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a perfect fit in Toronto, but we cannot even go there when I talk about Toronto right now.
Toronto and wingers is just, there's so many.
Yeah, and just money is not there right now. And I really think if you have like a guy like Michael Ferland in your locker room, such a benefit. Vancouver has done some pretty good moves this year in terms of Myers. Sucks that they have to eat up $3 million of Roberto Luongo for a little bit. That sucks for them. You know, that might hurt them in the end. I'm not sure. It might hurt them when it comes to the Brock Besser deal, but they're still a team that isn't tied up against the cap because they're rebuilding.
I feel like that's exactly it. They're at their stage where they're rebuilding, but I'd say there's still a little bit of expectations. They've got some young guys in Pettersson and Besser and these kind of guys that are playing to a really high standard. I don't think the fans there should be pessimists when it comes to if their team can make the playoffs, but I don't think that if they make the playoffs, they should be optimistic either.
No, and definitely not. You're going to be rebuilding for a bit. Elias Pettersson there. You got some good future there in Vancouver.
Good for Markstrom last year. He had a really good season. That kind of went under the radar.
Yep.
I didn't believe in him.
No one did.
No, and he played pretty damn well.
He did.
Hats off to Jakob Markstrom.
They got Thatcho Demenko coming up too.
That's true.
They got some good blood. They're DiPietro coming up.
Yep.
They got some Vancouver fans. You have something to be excited about, and that's where the Canadian teams are all excitement. Montreal overachieved last year. Calgary overachieved. I do want to say they overachieved, but they did lose in the first round, so potentially not.
Yeah, I mean, Calgary's putting the pieces together.
Yeah.
Calgary is getting something special going out there.
Yeah, they are. And
I think their goaltending situation's got to fix, though, before they can make... I don't think Cam Talbot's the solution.
No, he's not. And that's where I'm surprised they didn't try to make a run at Bobrovsky, but when $10 million is thrown down on the table and he wants to be in Florida, he probably couldn't make an option there. But
yeah, I guess Calgary and Florida
two
paper.
different. Yeah, a little bit hotter in Florida.
Yeah.
But the Atlantic is looking very strong this year, especially with some improvements that were made on Buffalo and on Florida's end. Toronto is also, made some improvements as well with Tyson Barrie and some moves.
Do we think that the Tyson Barrie trade makes Toronto a better team?
Yeah. And I hesitate because I really think that it's just going to – I was a fan of Kadri.
Yeah,
I was.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, he couldn't control himself. He's one of the guys who's been there forever, if you want to say. Because not really.
2009 he was drafted.
He's the oldest tenured Leaf at that time.
Do you know who is now? Garrett Sparks.
2011. Yeah, and I'm soon to think that he's going to be out the door pretty freaking soon, too.
They'll bury his contract, I think, soon.
Something will happen.
I don't think either Hutchinson or Sparks is the backup.
No, I don't know what they're going to do. I really think that the Leafs are a better team defensively. I still want to say that. I do.
They took away from their greatest asset, which was center. They had arguably the best center depth with Matthews, Tavares, Kadri. They take away from what their strength and add it to their weakness. And it's hard. Sometimes you want to play to your strengths because that's what you're good at, and you can just keep doing that. Their defense sucked. Oh, so bad. And I think Barrie was on pace for 62 points, which the Leafs have never had a single 62-point defenseman score.
No, and I think right now it sets up perfectly for a stellar third line of Kerfoot, Kapanen, and Janssen. Janssen, sorry.
Yeah.
With Janssen. But you have the first line with Mikhailov and Matthews and Nylander. I like that Mikhailov kid. Mm-hmm. Russian.
I don't know too much about him myself.
He's angry. He's feisty. He's big. Like, he could be a Zach Hyman-ish, but better goal scorer, I think, in my opinion. I think the potential's there. But Nylander needs to play with Matthews this year. He can't play with Kadri. If he's not playing with Matthews, he's your third-line center then. Because that's where you floored. Not your third-line winger with Kerfoot on center, okay? So, Babcock, hopefully we get to have you on the show in the summertime sometime. We can maybe ask you what you're potentially looking at doing, because he's having a busy offseason. But, again, it's been an all-around exciting offseason. And then we talked about Ferland and Dzingel getting signed. Dzingel, Carolina, Ferland to Vancouver. Another contract was signed. Jordan Binnington went to the St. Louis Blues. 4.4 a year for Jordan Binnington. Now, I have said, for 2 years, 8.8 total. I've said this on the show, and I kind of bit my tongue with it afterwards because I mentioned that Jordan Binnington reminded me a lot of Andrew Raycroft.
Ooh.
Because of the stance, because of persona, and just because of his presence on the first year in the National Hockey League. Right. And obviously now he won a Stanley Cup. He had 16 wins, most by a rookie goalie. So obviously I look like the fool for saying that right now, but don't forget, Raycroft didn't win a cup his first year, but he had stellar numbers, and he won the Calder. Mm-hmm. Binnington didn't win the Calder. Yeah. Elias Pettersson did. So there are some underlining factors that are different, but I do see a lot of similarities with Binnington and Raycroft.
And I wasn't going to say Raycroft. I was going to say this contract makes me think a lot of Andrew Hammond when he came into the league. Oh,
wow, okay. That's even worse.
Isn't it? Played really well, signed a bridge deal, and could never put it together. But the big difference between Hammond, Raycroft, and Binnington is only one of those guys has the Stanley Cup.
Exactly, and Binnington showed signs of brilliance. And same with Raycroft did, and Hammond.
The one thing about Jordan Binnington, where anybody would ask him, are you nervous? And he's just like, are you kidding me? Am I nervous? No chance. And he'd go out there and he'd perform like he'd just done it a million times and never bounced around in the ECHL and couldn't find a contract half the time.
Played World Juniors for Canada. People probably forget that. He played for Belleville. He struggled in the O.
He got loaned from Boston to another farm team, I believe. Or maybe he was loaned from a team to Boston's farm team. But either way, when you think Stanley Cup goalie, you don't loan a Stanley Cup goalie. So I don't know what it was.
I think it was St. Louis that loaned him.
Yes. And it just, everything clicked. Last place, call him up, win, playoffs, win the Stanley Cup. How do you bet against that? It's so hard to.
And I feel foolish, but I still see it. I still see. I don't know if he's going to have the season. If Binnington has another strong season this year, I will swallow my pill and I'll say that I was wrong. But I'm not going to say I'm 100% wrong yet, despite him winning the Stanley Cup. Because look at that team on St. Louis. That team was the worst team in January, and then they just clicked. But they never had a bad team on paper. They didn't have all these superstars either, but they had a team that just worked well together. And when you have a team of Pietrangelo and with Parenko and Bouwmeester, and you have a defensive team that they had that focus on D first, and you have a coach that comes in, Greg Baribe comes in, and when you have that presence and someone who's defense first, that changes your whole landscape of your team. So, I got to say right now, Binnington, prove me wrong, but I still think you're Andrew Raycroft 2.0, even though you won a Stanley Cup.
2 years is ideal, though. 2 years for that deal.
Yes, St. Louis, that's a steal.
3, Dom. 2, that's your safe bet. Can you eat 4.5 if he ends up sucking after year 1? Yeah. Does it suck? Yeah. Guy won you a cup. Suck it up.
Dave McCaig, Alex Parr, outside of Pier 55 here at the Pier, where it's great beer.
Okay, maybe too much. Maybe one an episode.
One episode. I like that. So a couple more things I want to get to before we go to break. One-word answers is what we're going to do. You're kind of back and forth.
Okay.
I'll ask you answer, then I'll answer my own question. Worst contract signing this offseason in the National Hockey League?
I can see his face right now. Went to Philadelphia, $7.1 million. I can't.
Kevin Hayes.
Kevin Hayes. Yes.
We're on the same page with that. Kevin Hayes by far and this was a post, so that's why I'm getting all these questions from. I want to see if we align to the post on TSN side. Most underrated contract.
Ooh, honestly, this is gonna sound super biased. Switching hats. The Janssen and Kapanen deals were so good. I'm not a big Kapanen fan. Not a big Kapanen fan by any means. I think that guy skates super fast and goes into corners. And as I'm saying this, I'm realizing it's more than one word. But he skates super fast into dead zones and doesn't do anything with it. But those contracts, to get both of those guys who have so much promise under $4 million for 3 years plus, both of them? Are you kidding me? Yeah. Great deals.
I like those. Now, I'm going to kind of be a little bit biased here, too, but I'm going to go Jason Spencer.
Wow, really?
I kind of have a feeling with Spencer this year. I think he's not going to be no 50-point guy, but I think his presence is going to be really strong. And I actually, one that was really crossing with me, and I'm also saying it more in one word, but Joe Pavelski was one that I kind of like. But that third deal at $7 million does remind me of Patrick Marleau, right? But that first 2 years, I think that's the underrated side.
As long as he can keep his feet under him, and I mean, Patrick Marleau was a great skater for his whole career.
Still unsigned.
Right? His legs are just gone, and you don't know when that's going to happen. I like watching Marleau last season. It hurt. It was like an old dog trying to play with the young pup still, and he just
sign him in Toronto for a cheap deal.
No, I don't.
$750,000. No, he's going to go back to San Jose.
He's going back to San Jose, even if it's like one of those one-day deals where like they did with Madonna, so he could retire as a star or something like that. Yeah. God, I hope he gets to play though. I want that guy to win a cup so bad.
The best signing this offseason is the last question.
Best signing. I don't think it's any of the big names now that I'm thinking. Like, not a Bobrovsky, not a Panarin. No. I don't know.
Pass?
Give it. Who are you thinking?
Tyler Myers.
Yeah.
I know that was high cap. I get it, but I'm a big Tyler Myers fan.
Chris Tanev. 3 point something.
Okay.
I really like that deal.
That's who somebody Toronto should have been looking at.
Exactly what I was thinking. Right-handed defenseman on the right side.
Upgrade from Gardner, who is still unsigned as well, which I laugh my ass off to. I'm sorry. All my people saying that. I know he's maybe waiting for Mitch Marner.
That's
exactly
what it is.
I think that's what it is too. But him not being signed right now almost proves my point that he's not as good as people see that he is, and he's not worth $5 million a year. He's not worth $5 a year. If Chris Tanev gets 3 point something, Gardner cannot say that he deserves more. I don't care if Tanev didn't get 50 points or whatever happened. Gardner is a $4 million defenseman in my eyes at most. He's a 3.5 to 4 this year. If I'm a team, I'm giving him 2 years at 3.5, 4 per, if I even want him or if I need him.
I know how free agency works, where players can kind of get a premium, but I don't even know if maybe that period's gone for him, where he could have asked for so much, where teams were trying to make those panic moves and get those guys super quick.
Is he better than Tanev though?
They do different things.
They do, but would you rather have Tanev or Gardner?
It depends.
Now I'm asking more questions. We just branched off a little bit. But.
What team do I have already? Am I a team that needs a defensive?
You're the Colorado Avalanche. Well, you have these young studs. You got these young guys.
Barry's out the door. So, I mean, if you want points on that back end, maybe a power play quarterback. I feel like Gardner gets so much flack because of that one super bad game he had, because it had to be Game 7. Of course it had to be. I completely dismiss some of any blame for the last Game 7, though. A guy was coming back injured. Yep. What was he playing on? A torn ACL? I don't know if it was a torn ACL, but guy came back early, so I dismiss him for that one bonehead play behind the net. God, Tanev's more of a shutdown guy. Gardner can put up 50 points on the back end, and that's something that not every defenseman can do that. There's only few and far between defensemen that can put up 50 in a season. I don't know. If I'm Colorado, I think I'd take Gardner over Tanev.
I would. Tanev, and not because I don't like Gardner. I just think I'm one of those individuals that really watch how he plays, and it's just I don't know. Maybe he just hasn't played. He needs a shutdown D-man to play with him. He's never had that. Nikita Zaitsev is not the guy who's going to take it to the promised land. So maybe you put him with someone I like Tyler Myers and Gardner. I think that would have been a perfect
Gardner
pair.
and Muzzin. Leave that. That would be perfect. I don't know why they didn't just run with it. I'm screaming at my TV. Just play them together. Or, crazy thought, why not play your two best defensemen together at the same time, Riley and Gardner? I don't know why that was such a crazy afterthought to never do. I know they were kind of few and far between for decent defensemen. Play your two best defensemen sometimes.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Now we kind of went off to a couple point off, but we get to do that here.
Yeah, how long did we go? How long?
We're 33 minutes.
Okay.
33:43 right now, and listeners will probably think more because of our intro and our song, etc. But we went overtime here by 13 minutes. So that's the opposite of doing board ops.
Yeah,
so that's totally fine. We did. We got a lot of topic there. See, things do get fired up here on the Game Sports Show. As I mentioned, Dave and Alex here outside Pier 55, Northern Superior Brewing Company. We're on the cusp of the Hub Trail outside. This is beautiful. recording outside.
Sunday is the best day.
Yeah,
Sunday
I
is
think
the best
this
day.
is the best. And you know what? We're very excited to see what the rest of the summer brings. It'd be very nice to get some. We're planning to get some guests here outside, having some beer at the Pier. And I didn't use the quote. I just rhymed it.
Yeah.
It's a great presence here. It's so nice.
It can't be hard to get guests out here.
No, it's definitely. It's just no. I know a lot of people like doing phone recordings.
Right.
But we got to get them to come live and get off their toolboxes and their boats and come on down here and join us at Pier 55. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit less on our second part because we only got a certain amount of time to crunch in. But we're going to talk some baseball.
Cool.
Here on the Game Sports Show. So it's Dave and Alex, as I mentioned, here at Pier 55. You're going to hear from our sponsors, some commercials. Don't go anywhere. The Game Sports Show is pleased to shout out a partner, additional home, and sponsor to Northern Superior Brewing Company, located on 50 Pym Street in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Northern Superior Brewing Company having a strong presence locally with many beers to offer. With much involvement in the community of Sault Ste. Marie, Northern has a sport and friendly-like atmosphere within its tap room, and during the summer months, it is a must to visit Pier 55 to enjoy some delicious food, amazing view of the water, and view of the Bush Pulling Museum right on the cusp of the Hub Trail, and of course, all of that down with a delicious brew from Northern Superior. Northern Superior Brewing Company. It's a northern thing.
You can follow The Game Sports Show on Facebook and Instagram at The Game Sports Show.
Hi, this is Paul Maurice from the Winnipeg Jets, and you're listening to The Game Sports Show.
Welcome back to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. It's Dave McCaig here alongside Alex Parr outside at Pier 55. We're on the cusp of the Hub Trail. I think that's my favorite word when I come here is cusp. But it is a beautiful afternoon here, Sunday afternoon here at Pier 55. Come on down, the Sunday specials, calamari and a pint for $10. And at 1 o'clock, we have some Washitas as well. Ooh. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Don't hesitate to come sign up to do a Washitas tournament.
We just signed up.
We actually just signed up, myself and Alex, and we did throw Justin under the bus too, where he'll be a part of the team.
I hope you're listening to this one.
Yeah, you're going to be in there. And we're going to also have another teammate. I have a little trick up my sleeve with a Washtouch specialist we might be adding to our roster. I just thought of it before.
Specialist.
A Washtouch specialist.
Okay.
I'm going to see if he can join us as well. And I'm sure with him potentially listening to this, he is going to know who he is, and he's going to be waiting for a text.
And this is an open challenge, too. So if you're listening to this right now, you can come to the Pier every Sunday, open challenge.
Yes, you get to see us, you get to have beer, and you get to play Washitas.
Yep.
And it's such a beautiful area.
And you get to get absolutely demolished by us.
Yeah, exactly. And you get to watch us win.
We're not taking any else.
No, we don't. We don't lose. We're too competitive. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anyone's seen, my posts or how you and I talk. We're very strong personalities. We don't like losing.
No.
So we are going to have a Washitas tournament. Actually starts today at 1 o'clock, which should be getting underway shortly here. A couple minutes past 1, actually.
Okay,
So it's going to be getting started shortly. Probably right in the background while we're going to be recording. So you can come on down, spend time with us. Maybe you could be a fan guest because we do fan guests, and we're going to be starting. Cool. We're going to be starting in September. We're going to have live on location fan guests and live call-ins where you can ask questions and all that fun stuff. But you can come on down to the Pier. You can sit with us, have a beer, have a pint, have calamari and a pint if you're here this Sunday, and then play some Washitas. Alex, here on the second part, I'm going to mention a couple things before we jump into baseball because I got reminded about it. One, at the end of this show, at the end of this segment, I am going to throw in part 3 of the show, a bonus feature. If you missed the ONNTV Sault Online episode this Tuesday, which you shouldn't have.
Yeah, I was going to say, then what are you doing?
I don't know what you're doing, but if you want, you can listen to the Colin Miller interview that was aired this past Tuesday. We're going to have that at the end of the show. So don't be confused when we go into part 3 and it says we're going to be right back with the guys. No, we're not going to be right back with the guys. That is just a bonus ad at the end of the show for you to listen to. Just in case you're driving in your car right now and you want to fast forward to hear Colin Miller, new Buffalo Sabres D-man, his interview getting traded there for a 2nd and 5th round pick from Las Vegas. We're going to throw that in the show for you because I know sometimes you don't get on the ONNTV. Sometimes you're driving. Right. Sometimes people follow the Northern page, the Game Sports Show page. May not follow Sault Online, which you should. Either way, you have a time to listen to Colin Miller in that great interview. And we got some more big interviews coming up this year, especially as that. And the third thing I want to get into, Sault Online had an article, and this was put on Facebook by Greg Lefebvre, someone that I know that I play ball with, that I've dealt with at Superior Dodge, as I had a 2014 Dodge Ram. Keyword had. I had to give that back temporarily to get myself in order with money, being honest here. So the point is, dealing with Greg and dealing with the guys there at Superior, they are fantastic. And I know when I go buy a truck at the end of this year, that when I get into a nice new Dodge Ram this year, that they're going to take good care of me. So I'm a big fan of Dodges, as you can see. Sorry Prowse, sorry Ford, sorry anything like that. I'm loyal when it comes to that. But Greg did something fantastic. He posted something on Facebook that stated about Chris Carr, the superstar, got his bike stolen. Okay, and after I thought that the Sioux I've lost all faith when it came to the Sioux sometimes in terms of some people. I met somebody like Alex, met some great people here on the show. It restores my faith in terms of the Sioux.
Right.
And great people at Sault Online, great people at ESPN across the river. Everything coming together, it seems. And this story that Chris Carr, I almost said Chris Parr. I almost
Chris
mixed you
Parr,
two.
yeah.
Chris Carr had his bike stolen. It was a $1,400 bike.
Yeah. And for anyone that doesn't know Chris Carr, this guy, he selfless. That's perfect word to describe him. He helps the Thunderbirds and is this equipment manager. He goes for the game night staff for the Greyhounds. He goes on loads trucks for Tim Hortons. He goes and cuts people's lawns. His only way to get to these places is on his bike, his fat bike, which has like bigger tires, $1,400 bike.
$1,400 bike. And Greg Lefebvre started an initiative online, and he ended up raising within a day or so.
3 hours.
3 hours, yeah. Okay,
3
there's the exact. The
hours.
Sault Online articles, you'd know the exact quote. 3 hours. 3 hours, it was raised, the money for Chris Carr to get his bike. And then I know Trevor Zachary here of Northern Superior Brewing Company and GM of the Thunderbirds wanted to do an initiative as well. And a lot of people were really stepping up to do something here. And everybody stepped up. And it's amazing to see. Chris Carr got his bike. You can check out that article on Sault Online. It's a great post. It's fantastic. It's a great read, and it's well-deserved.
I have Chris on Facebook, and when I saw the post saying that it was first stolen, it was like, you took away my pride and joy. Like, I've got no way to get these places. Heart-shattering stuff.
Yep.
Heart-shattering. But it just goes to show how much Chris has helped people and now how much they're willing to help Chris get back on his feet.
Exactly. And it's just absolutely, the person who sold the bike should be ashamed of themselves, and it's sad. And I understand, if it's a kid, kids will be kids. I understand the other side of things, but that's very cruel to do. Now, you may have not known that is Chris Carr's bike, or maybe you did. Despite either way, kids, adults, anybody, don't steal. Do not steal.
You don't know how impactful anything is to someone. So.
Exactly. But you know what you did? You helped bring the community together, and you got Chris a bike, so the joke's on you for stealing it.
I
Booyah.
like that. Booyah. Yeah,
that's what
I like
gotta
that.
say.
Okay.
Chris Carr, love it. I know I'm going to tag you in this post along with Greg. You guys did fantastic with that. And everyone that was involved and that wanted to be involved as well. If you couldn't have donated, that's fine. 3 hours. Heck, I didn't see the post until 2.5 hours after, and it was 3 hours close to anyways the money was raised. So, the Game Sports Show wanted to be involved, and Sault Online was obviously involved already and already had the article and everything. So
when I watched Chris wheel the bike out of Sport Check, his chest puff out, big smile on his face. He got his pride back. It was just so nice to see. I was like, hey, man, do you mind taking it for a ride so I can get some shots? Like, oh, yeah, okay. Takes it for a ride. Like, what are you doing the rest of the day? Oh, I'm going to go for a bike ride, then I'm going to go home. Yeah. Perfect. I love it.
Chris Carr, the superstar. Check out that article on Sault Online, and just a great job by the community, including Greg Lefebvre of Superior Dodge, and obviously give a shout out to Trevor Zachary here from Northern Superior Brewing Company for your initiative to get involved as well. So, Alex, we got some more sports talk about. That was 7 minutes there. We got not much time to play with, but we're gonna do what I can. Or do what we can, and I'll do what I can on my end to try to keep buying us a little bit more time. Cool. So, baseball. We are not gonna start talking about the Blue Jays. No. Okay. And we're not talking about the NBA Russell Westbrook trade. That is for Wednesday. As it's very quiet on the Raptors end, may I say. But you have right now the Los Angeles Angels, which absolutely blows my mind with this story. And I'm popping up everything that I can here in terms of articles that I have saved because I want to get the exact stats. And the one that I have that I'm going to go through is one that I saw on Instagram. Okay, Tyler Skaggs wore number 45. Mike Trout's first inning home run was 454 feet.
Right.
Skaggs was born July 13th, 1991. Angels had 13 runs on 13 hits on the eve of his birthday. Pena and Cole combined for the 11th no-hitter in Angels history. Skaggs wore number 11 in high school. Now, you have that going on with his mom throwing the ceremonial first pitch in the game as well, and doing the handshake with Henny, I think was who it was with. It was the handshake they did it with. But the managers of the Angels, Brad Osmus, said before the game how he's still a part of the team, even though he is not here. But you had all those coincidences go on. Like,
it's perfect.
I'm speechless right now. Reading everything here off that, and reading that yesterday and reading that the day before, even just to be like, what the heck?
Right.
Tyler Skaggs on the eve of his birthday, they do all these coincidence things. Like, you can't write that stuff. That's not fixed.
No,
that was not fixed.
Disney wouldn't think of that ending.
No. And the Angels did it perfectly.
And they did.
And they attributed to him perfectly. And so sad and unfortunate. He's a 91 birthday, same age as myself, and so young, a young talent taken away from us too early, which has happened in the world of baseball recently too with Fernandez.
Goodness, right.
And so you have the position of that happens. It just impacts a team, right? And a big win for the Angels against the Mariners that day. And for all that to happen, there was an Angel.
There really was. And I was putting my tinfoil hat on for a second. I'm like, 13-0. Maybe the Mariners just threw it because it was a good feeling. You can't make those stats up, though. That's not something that you just go, oh, yeah, well, we feel bad. No, that there's something bigger than baseball at play. There
is. And then when people say this is a stretch or people are looking at this, this is ridiculous, shut up. I'm going to tell you to shut up because it happened. And people in the world of media, when they find these coincidences, they're going to state it because people like myself, yourself, that are in the world of media, other media outlets, or also just fans, are going to get goosebumps from this. They're going to know this. They're going to remember this. They're going to remember this 10, 20, 30 years from now when you're sitting there saying that Tyler Skaggs, remember that game right before on the eve of his birthday, had all the numbers lined up. There's going to be superstitions. People are going to be talking about this. It is looked into, and it is found out, and it is, as I mentioned, a coincidence. But it's a great one at that.
And Mike Trout, after the game, they were interviewing him, and he couldn't keep it together. He was having a hard time keeping his emotion. Rightfully so, not knocking on the guy. But I think that right there shows you how much Tyler meant to that team.
Yep.
It's just not fair sometimes.
It isn't. And, the Angels right now are in a position of mourning, but they definitely played in tribute to Tyler Skaggs in that game. We call that Tyler Skaggs Day. No, I think the Angels should call that Tyler Skaggs Day when they play on that day where they wear number 45 every game doing that. I think that's how teams should do it. But Tyler Skaggs, I think that was a good tribute and a good closure there in terms of the world of baseball, and the fans were treated as something that was absolutely amazing. Now, transitioning from that to the Toronto Blue Jays, because of our coverage here, we do coverage with the Tigers and the Blue Jays in particular here on the Game Sports Show and through our partners at ESPN and Sault Online. We're going to talk about the Blue Jays at this time. Butch Davis, you can check out Butch on Sports, and Scott Nason with Paul Van Wagner, and just Scott Nason talking about the Tigers. We're going to talk about the Blue Jays. Marcus, I was looking at all these potential trades that were going to go on by the July 31st deadline. You have Marcus Stroman, Ken Giles, who are the two fronts going up at it. Justin Smoke is on there. Freddie Galvis is on that list as well. Randall Tkachuk, I think, is untouchable. They signed to a good contract. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Teoscar Hernandez is on the cusp in terms of if he's going to get traded or not. You have Daniel Hudson, who might get traded. There's a lot of names that get thrown around, but you have to trade, I think, Marcus Stroman and Giles. Now, for people to say, why do you have to? He's younger. He wants to be part of it. I get it. He was a part of this older team with the Jays. He likes that winning mentality. That's what he wants. He's at a good part of his career where he's worth a lot right now. He's making some good numbers this year. What if you don't trade him? Then next year he has a 6.5 ERA. His average is just as good as Aaron Sanchez's. The Jays can't even pay a team right now to take Aaron Sanchez.
Stroman is above this team, and I don't mean that in like an arrogance kind of way. I mean, where Stroman is in his career and where the Blue Jays at as a franchise, they're two different places. One's looking to win, one's looking to win in the future.
Yep.
Stroman, I can only imagine how frustrating it must be to see David Price and Edwin Encarnacion and Jose Bautista and all these huge names, and they get Tulowitzki, and there's just all these pieces coming together, and they're making the playoffs, and the fans are getting involved, and now everybody's gone except for you, and the team doesn't even want you there anymore, but you're still there because they haven't worked out a trade. How frustrating.
Very frustrating.
And you can see it in his face, and sometimes I feel like he may overstep what he should be saying a little bit, but at the All-Star game, I feel like he really was right. He loves the city.
He does.
Never imagine him going anywhere else. He said that before. But he just knows that he's not in the future of their plans. So let's rip off this Band-Aid, get it over with, get Stroman out of Toronto. And Stroman, if he doesn't get a standing ovation when he comes back, that's messed up. Because
it's
he deserves
disrespect.
it.
He does deserve it. The guy was injured all that 1 year in 2015, and he came back from his ACL and after finishing his schooling at Duke.
Yep.
And he came back and his heart, he bled. And he would still bleed this team if he knew he was a part of the plans and if they're in a better spot. But the Jays are not in a position to win for 3 to 5 years. Mm-hmm. I don't think. Never mind win. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team for 3 to 5 years.
3 years. They're not going to be a playoff team in 3 years either.
Yeah, no, they might not. 3 years is a stretch.
Yeah.
So Stroman is at a perfect age to be traded and to get a prime value for him. You can get, and teams that are lined up to get him, the Yankees, the Twins, even the Astros are looking at him.
I would not want him to go to the Yankees.
Yeah,
he would have so much fun pitching against the Blue Jays.
Yes, he would love it. I actually would like to see him go to Philadelphia or Milwaukee. I think that'd be a better fit for him in terms of just kind of future plans and what he can do. And just so he's out of the AL. But
I think he wants to go to the big lights.
But he does.
Play in a big city
that
loves baseball,
yeah.
right? And I mean, I feel like he can do it. He was having fun during the playoffs when the Blue Jays were doing it. But, God, I can't even imagine how frustrating it is for him.
No, and it is. And the value in terms of prospects, I think teams that have the best prospects to give are the Twins in terms of what they have to potentially move. But in terms of Stroman getting moved and Giles, you can get prime value for these guys. And you got to think of hoping to add pitching depth. You got to add some pitching prospects. And it'd be good to add some good fielding prospects as well in the outfield.
Right.
I think Giles can add you some of that outfield potential, and I think Stroman can bring in some pitching and some infield prospects. And you're going to have to maybe get someone who is MLB ready right now, but it's going to be somebody who is not in someone else's plans either. It was with Drury.
Almost like somebody that you're going to get knowing that you'll probably move him before he plays another season in a Blue Jays jersey. And what sucks, too, about this Stroman thing is he's essentially, like Stroman to the Blue Jays was DeMar to the Raptors, a guy that just loved the city, only ever wanted to play there. And these are guys coming from the States that are just falling in love with Canada. We need more of that. We need more of these players staying and proving that Toronto is a place that you want to be. But I guess baseball and basketball kind of differ in the sense that basketball players have to deal with the winter in Canada. Yeah. Baseball players not so much. So
exactly. They get kind of summoned out. Teams that were mentioned on an article that were mentioned online, the New York Yankees were a team, and these are some prospects to keep an eye on. Jonathan Legazaria, who plays in the MLB right now. Clint Frazier, Devay Garcia, Albert Abreu, Clark Schmidt, Antonio Cabello, and Ronzi Contreras. Those are some guys' names and teams that are looking at some of those guys. You're going to have to take Jonathan Legazaria. I can't pronounce his last name. I'm from the MLB. And I think you can look at outfielder Clint Frazier and then potentially bringing in Ronzi Contreras. That could be the 3 players you bring in the trade. And I mentioned the Twins. I'm a big fan of Brent Rooker. He's a first baseman and an outfielder. I think that would be a perfect fit. As well as I think you should look at Luis Thorpe, who's in AAA for Minnesota. That's a notable. For the Braves, and I'll just round out with 3 teams. The Braves are another team that we're looking at. And they have a guy that I'm a fan of in terms of just looking at his stats, Colby Allard and Christian Pache. One's a pitcher, one's an outfielder for terms of prospects. Now, if you did mention he was going to go to the Astros, who still have a pool of prospects to pick from, Kyle Tucker, Brandon Bielak, Coben Martin, J.B. Bukanaskis, and then Seth Beer.
I love the pronunciations of these names.
Yeah,
You're just I don't know. Time. I'm just going to...
Bukaskis. I like J.P. Bukaskis is the one apparently that the Jays are liking, but Kyle Tucker is very interesting because he's an outfielder. So to round out the teams that are in the top 10 in rumors, Milwaukee Brewers, Phillies, the Padres, the Oakland A's. I'm throwing the name in now. Los Angeles Angels, obviously with losing Tyler Skaggs and losing someone from the rotation. That's that they're definitely looking to add some there. The Colorado Rockies. So I'll say right now the front runners would be the Yankees. Teams to watch out for the Houston Astros and the Twins. But the team that's going to be the diamond in the rough, I think, is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, that's what you were saying too.
So I am a big fan of this trade happening. And Ken Giles, there's not as much speculation with the other guys getting moved there, but Ken Giles will bring in some good prospects. I think a team that will fit for him is also the Twins. So I think you can trade Stroman and Giles together. which would throw out the Yankees.
Can you trade Sanchez?
You can, but you won't because you're not going to get fudge all for him.
What's the point of hanging on to him? Just to hope that he can manicure his fingernails a little bit better? And that's not
go to somebody else. Come to St. Reed for some manicures.
Yeah, what I hate, too, is when people go, oh, we can't play with a broken finger? Well, hockey players get hit in the face with a puck. Dude, it's a different thing. They use their fingernails to pitch the ball, so it's kind of important. Yeah. But aside from that, what's the point of hanging on to him? Because he's got no value. But look at the team that he's going to be on even more so next year. I don't think the team's going to be any better next year. Do you think his stats are going to be any better? It's hard to say. His wins won't be any better. Maybe he can lower that ERA, lower that walks, and whatever it is. Yeah, I think he's walked the most out of any pitcher in the league, or at least the AL. Maybe package Stroman and Sanchez?
I actually think Stroman, I know everyone thinks the Yankees, and I think that is where he's going to end up.
I think that's where he's going to go, too.
But I really think the Blue Jays got to look at the Twins or the Phillies, especially the Twins in terms of some prospects.
Just someone not in the AL East,
yeah.
Please.
And I like Sanchez going to the Astros to rebound his career, to be in the fifth in the rotation. Then the Jays can pry a minor prospect and Kyle Tucker. I think Kyle Tucker would be a good project for them to bring back.
If you're another team, though, are you giving up one of your better prospects for an Aaron Sanchez? Even though, okay, you're in a place to make the playoffs. You need a fifth guy in your rotation. You've got some very decent prospects, some like guys that you're very confident in. Do you trade one of them for an Aaron Sanchez?
Depends. I don't think Sanchez would be the only one going back. I think you throw in Daniel Hudson in that trade, and you would throw in...
Why not look elsewhere, though, before you decide to trade one of your future pieces for Aaron Sanchez? And I mean, nothing against the guy. To watch him go from being in the bullpen, coming out in the seventh inning, to starting games and just absolutely...
He's got to be a bullpen pitcher. I don't think he's a starter. That's my first. I don't think he can be a starter. Where in the Houston Astros organization, he can start and maybe bounce back there. If he wants to go somewhere where he can be in the bullpen, I think that's where you can bring in the Philadelphia Phillies.
Right.
And, in the NL, or he can pitch in the NL. The Milwaukee Brewers would also be interesting, and the Padres. Something over in the NL to get out of the AL scope, to go over to a different light, and to be in the bullpen. I don't think he's a starter. So, at the end of the day, Stroman, I think, is going to get moved in Giles. But if you can move Sanchez to answer your question, hell yeah.
Do you do it taking less than what you wanted for him, though, just to move him?
Yes.
I think...
Not too much less.
No.
You want a top-level prospect? Let's say you want an A-plus prospect? No, you're not going to get that.
No.
Go for an A-minus, B-plus prospect.
Yeah, I feel like, you know what, cut your losses. He's having a bad season. Pay the repercussions of that for not trading him earlier, but...
Yep.
Just clear the cabinets. Just new look to this whole team. The past is gone.
Past is gone. And people are starting to roll in here. I know we're waiting for a wash-a-toss game, but people are coming in to come to the pier and enjoy a nice...
Nope. Don't. Okay, I'll give it. Okay, one more? Okay.
I stopped. Come down to the pier and enjoy some great products from Northern Superior Brewing Company that they have on tap. I held it.
Okay.
I like that. So Dave McCaig, Alex Parr, you know what I bought us there? I bought us a total of 13 more minutes.
Wow.
I was lucky there. So now I'm going to get the boot in terms of getting the time here. So especially now that we're cramming in the Colin Miller.
Yeah, it's not going to be breathing down your neck now?
Yes, for sure. I'll be getting some texts for sure. But hey, guess what?
He's not here, so
talk about. And you give me the board operation tools, I'm going to board op. And that's kind of the way it goes here in Canada sometimes. We just are stubborn as hell. But Dave McCaig here alongside Alex Parr here, Pier 55, Northern Superior Brewing Company. I want to give a shout out to all of our additional sponsors here on the show as well. Sault Online, ONNTV, ESPN, and ESPN 1400 and Sovereign Communications. Sports Center Bar and Grill, Icebreaker Sports Bar and Grill, Discover the Canvas, The Salon, Superior Pro Shop, Big Brother, Big Sister, Northern Critters in Need, and North Shore Sports and Auto. And now this year coming, we have a lot of big plans being a part of ESPN and also with the Sault Online. There's new sponsorship opportunities that are opened up and a lot of plans. So if you're interested in sponsoring or being a part of the Game Sports Show, don't hesitate to contact myself or anybody on the Game Sports Show panel or our main sponsors through Sault Online or ESPN/ESPN Sovereign Communications. Mark St. Angelo over there across the river in Sault, Michigan. You can reach out in terms if you want to be involved in sponsorships. Why not?
Why not?
Twin Cities' only local regional sports show. Why wouldn't you?
Only.
Partners with the Hounds. We work together with the partners with the Lakers. We work with the Thunderbirds.
ESPN. Internationally recognized broadcaster. ESPN.
While we sit outside here at Pier and having a nice, delicious brew.
Oh, okay.
So I was
going to give you one more, but that was actually pretty good.
Haven't used it yet. Haven't used the one yet. The ending still has to come up.
Okay.
But as I mentioned, it's been Dave and Alex here. Alex, I want to say thank you for coming on by here today and taking the time, going a half-hour overtime with me. It always seems that we go a little longer, but it's because we talk all these sports. It's been a beautiful afternoon here. Susie Marie, come on down to Pier 55 to have a great beer. There it is. Took it.
Okay.
Come enjoy it. We'll be here next week, but to remind listeners for next week, Monday 6 to 8 through our ESPN partner. We'll have a show tomorrow. Tuesday, ONNTV. 6:30 sharp. Wednesday, 9 p.m. Sports Center Bar and Grill. I potentially will not be hosting, but if it's weather, if it's raining, I will be hosting. Alex will take in place alongside with Jamie Antonello there with that. Thursday, I also do have a game at 8:30 in terms of local baseball, but we don't have a show on Thursday here until after December 1st. That is on Sunday. And speaking of baseball locally, the Game Sports Show Renegades have three games this week, Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
How you guys doing?
4-2.
Okay.
We beat the first place team. We were in first, and then we lost to a team that was in third place. It's been a great year.
Okay.
Jeff Mills, shout out to you, Jeff, in terms of this season has been absolutely great.
How have you played?
I've actually have a .318 average, second on the team.
Okay.
Leading the team in RBIs.
Okay.
Leading the team in stolen bases. On-base percentage in the middle. I got these stats. Andre Lafrancois, who is actually our IT guy on the website side for the Game Sports Show, has the stats.
Okay, for whoever's listening, I wasn't trying to set him up to flex on us like that, but if he's, you know what, I'll let him take his moment if he's got the stats to back it up.
And I'm actually going to be pitching this week, apparently.
Really?
I might be pitching on Wednesday.
What's your go-to pitch?
My go-to pitch, I have one pitch.
Knuckle curve.
It's called the Dave McCaig change.
Okay. And
which is a fastball. Which is a fastball.
So much movement.
It's just so much movement and nonsense and curveness and fastness going on, which is only 60 miles an hour.
Fastness.
Fastness.
Ooh, what a word.
That's not even a word.
No, it can't be.
It can't be, but we're going to make it a word.
Okay.
But we played 3 times this week. I want to give a shout out to the SMBA. Give it out. Check out to their Facebook page. Jeff Mills does a great job in terms of promoting. And with local baseball. So the Game Sports Show playing 3 times this week. We win all 3 games. We kind of cement our way into first place for the year, which would be nice as we were finalists. We lost last year in the finals to the Hellcats. Greg Lefebvre and the Hellcats. Really? Yes. Interesting year. We play the Hellcats this week, actually. So we have a game Monday against the Donuts, which is Jeff Mills' team. Wednesday against the Swamp Rabbits, which is, I believe, the Sioux College team, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Then Thursday we play the Hellcats. We like to make a joke and call them the Hatchbacks.
Hope they're not listening.
Yeah, I think Greg's, I'll be tagging him unless he's going to be listening.
Bring some Band-Aids for that burn.
I like that. The Hatchbacks, I'm going to give Andre all that credit for that. But just in general, check out the local baseball scene that's going on. Men's League Baseball is great. We played Sinclair Yards. Each game has been like one run. We lost 16-15 last game. Oh, yeah. We beat the Rangers. They're from across the river. They have a bunch of college players on the team. We actually beat them 4-1. Like, men's league 4-1 baseball is unheard of. And then have a 16-15 game the next game. It's so exciting to watch. I know it kind of gets chilly at night. The bugs are meh. Bring some bug spray. Bring a book to read, too, just in between innings while we're not at bat because that's when it's most exciting. And
yell at Dave when he
goes
up to bat.
We have a good time there at Sinclair Fields. And Sinclair Fields in general, just absolutely fantastic. So that is the local baseball reminder to make sure you come on and check that out. You already know our schedule this week. Keep an eye on our social media pages, and don't forget about our contest giveaway. Follow the pages, Facebook and Instagram. Comment on the contest post. Comment a friend. Your name gets entered in and win a draw. The draw will happen this Tuesday from Sault Online. Remember, you have to comment. I know we got a bunch of likes. Without some comments.
Thank you for the likes, though.
Thank you for the likes. Yep. We got some likes. We didn't get some follows. We got some follows and not some likes.
We're trying to help you.
Yeah.
You're helping us, but we're helping you. So we want to
make
sure you do this right.
If you have any confusion, and I did double check the post, it seems we had Sault Online share it and all of our sponsors share it. They wouldn't have done it if it wasn't understandable. But if you're having some difficulty understanding in terms of what does he mean by this, don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask. I will give you the direction. Or keep an eye on all the reposts, and you can comment on that. We will have a repost tonight or tomorrow morning to give you the last chance opportunity to get into the draw. Alex, again, thanks for coming on by. Thanks to to Northern Superior Brewing Company and to Blake Winter, Trevor Zachary, and Jeff DeCorpo and the crew here at Northern Superior Brewing Company outside of Pier 55. As I mentioned, thanks to all of our sponsors. I bought an extra 3 minutes on our discussion there.
Oh, okay.
More trouble. Big week coming, big plans for the Game Sports Show. It's been Dave McCaig here alongside Alex Parr. And until tomorrow, listeners, I'm going to remind you to make sure you follow us on every platform.
Yep.
And this will be the last part of this show, but we do have Colin Miller's interview coming up after this. So this is the conclusion of the show.
We're out of here.
We're out of here. We're done. But just in case you missed it, you can definitely listen to the Colin Miller interview, which will be right after. But I'm still signing off, and doing so, I'm doing it right now. Reminder to listeners, keep your stick on the ice, swing your bat, catch your touchdown, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah. Welcome back to the Game Sports Show, the Twin Sault's only local, regional, and national sports show. You're listening to the show on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or through our ESPN 1400 outlet. Either way, we're very happy you're able to join us. You may have also been directed through our social media pages at the Game Sports Show on Facebook and Instagram. We're continuing the show here today with one of my friends and someone who's no stranger to the Game Sports Show, the one and only Colin Miller, Sioux native. Colin, how you doing, pal? I'm doing good, Colin, and thanks for taking the time to come on by, my friend. And, it's been a pretty busy off-season for yourself. I know you're in the middle of doing some renovations, and obviously, it's no secret. Obviously, you've been traded to the Buffalo Sabres from the Las Vegas Golden Knights. So we're going to talk about that and what you expect with the Buffalo Sabres. But all in all, before we jump into that, how's your summer going so far? Have you been able to catch any breaths? Have you been able to get some relaxation time at all?
More enjoyable, up here just outside the Sault. But yeah, it's been good. Got some things going on at the house here, taking care of this summer. And definitely a lot longer summer this year than last year with having such a quick turnaround last year. So nice to actually get back and have a full summer of training before it picks up again.
Absolutely. And it was a very eventful first round, must we say, with the San Jose Sharks with you guys. And, we won't jump in too much with that because, that's kind of older news in terms of the NHL playoffs, as, Stanley Cup champions have been crowned with the St. Louis Blues. But, you spent good 2 full seasons with the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And, you know what? Your experiences, you've moved now, you've been traded to the Buffalo Sabres, and obviously Buffalo Sabres are very confident in what you can bring to the team. They give up a very good value for yourself. But in terms of Vegas and moving on and that experience that you had in the Stanley Cup Finals, and as you just mentioned, you're having a little bit of a longer summer because last year being in the Stanley Cup Final against the Washington Capitals. When you found out you got traded, everyone loves knowing this answer. Where were you when you found out you got traded, first off? Secondly, what was your reaction?
Yeah, I was just at home, actually. I had a buddy get married. I guess that would have been 2 weekends ago now. And we were just going to go in and kind of, catch up the night before he was getting married. And to tell the guys, I was going to be a little bit late. I got a call from about 5 o'clock from my old GM there, and just kind of explain the news. And yeah, I think, it was a little bit tough, definitely obviously to leave an organization that, we had such good success with, signing to a longer term contract, longest that I've, had yet. So, thought definitely I'd be there, for the remainder of that one, but, that's how the sports world works. I think, a lot of it had to do with the cap, or that's, kind of what they illustrated to me. So that was, a little bit frustrating, but looking at the other side of it, Buffalo was great. I think, every city that I've gone to, I found stuff that I love about it, and every team, you have new experiences and, meet new guys and, create kind of those good friendships. So, everything was really positive from them on their end, and looking forward to getting down there and meeting everyone. Now
with Vegas, obviously, we're taking off the host hat here for a minute, put on my fan hat. When you hear rumors around social media with teams if they're potentially going to move guys, I was obviously hoping you were going to be moved to Toronto. Especially for our Toronto coverage here on the show, that would have been absolutely amazing to have a Sault Ste. Marie native, more Sault connection in Toronto. However, you're not too far from Toronto. You are in Buffalo, a big rivalry between the Leafs and the Sabres. But, going to Buffalo, you're going to a situation that is on the rise. You guys just signed Marcus Johansson, who played with the Boston Bruins at the tail end of the season, who obviously made the Stanley Cup final against St. Louis Blues. You got Rasmus Dahlin, you got Rasmus Ristolainen, and you got Jack Eichel. You have a good nucleus of guys there in Buffalo, and, for sure, being out of Vegas and such how high everything was that first year, and also going into this year, and how exciting you guys were to watch, the additions you made with Pacioretty and Mark Stone, and now moving to Buffalo, you're still going to a very exciting team, and arguably one of the toughest divisions in hockey with the Boston Bruins, with the Tampa Bay Lightning, the best team in the National Hockey League this year, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Florida Panthers, who are very much improved as well, Montreal, who lived up to expectations. But playing with the guys like the Rasmus guys, with Ristolainen and Dahlin and the guys, you must be pretty excited with the nucleus of guys they have there in Buffalo.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think, like you said, they made some nice moves. Picked up Jimmy Vesey from New York as well, which is a really, young player going into, as much opportunity as he would have liked in New York. So yeah, it'll be fun. I think, going into my first year in Vegas, obviously we had no clue, what to expect, and they're, I think, further along than obviously we were at the beginning of that year, and we had a great year. So you really never know. I mean, it'll be interesting. Like you said, a lot of great teams in our division, but it's always fun, to kind of to go somewhere else and be part of something that's new. This is a huge thing for them is making the playoffs, and that's goal number one for them, and then you move on from there. So probably a little bit different mindset, for me going into the season now from maybe contending for one with Vegas, but still something that is very fun to move forward and to be a part of. So I'm happy, very happy that they're putting this kind of faith behind me, and I think that they're happy to have me. So it's always a good feeling as a player.
They definitely, made a good trade, and definitely worth the value that you have, a second and a fifth. It's definitely worth, as we shared on our Game Sports Show page right prior to the deadline. Now, one of the analysts here on the show, Dane Hantro, who's a big Ralph Kruger fan. Ralph is a new coach going into Buffalo, and he was a former Edmonton Oilers coach. Have you been in contact with Ralph or anyone in particular, the management, what they said where you'll be playing, or heck, have you chosen your jersey number yet, or have you had any kind of communication with that yet after the trade?
Yeah, I spoke with Ralph, spoke with a couple of people in the organization there, and he seems great. I had a great conversation with him there, and he just kind of explained his position. He explained he's happy to have me and all that stuff. So it was great. I mean, I really don't know him very well obviously yet, but everything I've heard is fantastic, and he has such a great resume in hockey that it's hard not to respect somebody like that, and even look forward to learning from him. So it should be great. I mean, I spoke with him, a couple other guys on the team, and it's all been good so far. So yeah, looking forward.
Definitely. Now, Dave McCaig alongside here with Cullen Miller. A couple more things before we let you go. Now, going to Buffalo, you're in a position where I think, obviously, I see you fitting definitely in the top four in those defensive pairings. You're getting a lot of good special team time. So being in Buffalo, and as I know you grew up here in Canada, you grew up watching the Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Ottawa Senators, the Edmonton Oilers, all these Canadian teams that are around. But obviously you get to play the Toronto Maple Leafs more and the Montreal Canadiens and those guys more. Are you excited to be playing against teams that you basically watched watched growing up?
Yeah, definitely. And definitely excited to be a lot closer to home. I think those trips home for Christmas were getting pretty tough in Vegas. That's always something you want to get home for is Christmas. It never feels the same if you're not home with friends and family. But yeah, it'll be great. We'll definitely have some more people down there, and like you said, Toronto and those teams were teams that I always grew up watching. So it'll be good. I think going from playing in the Eastern Conference, with Boston, and then going to the Western Conference, they're definitely a little bit different conferences, but I I mean, hockey's still hockey, but it's fun, you know, to see different guys that you'll play against, you know, a little bit more often now. So I think it'll be a, you know, a very competitive division.
Definitely be very exciting to watch. I know I'm down in the Toronto area a lot, covering a lot of the Maple Leafs coverage, so I'll be looking forward to watch Buffalo and Toronto with you playing. And, you know, one thing that I want to get to on the hockey side before we get to something locally that I want to bring up to you before we let you go. Going through the motions of getting traded, like obviously you've been through the expansion draft where you got drafted from Boston and you went to Vegas, and you've been originally drafted by LA, but the most of the tenure was with Vegas, where you had your big substantial playing time thus far in the National Hockey League with Vegas. What is the emotion that you felt? Obviously, you're going to miss the presence there and the guys there in Vegas, but what does one player feel like after he does get moved? What was going through your mind, per se?
Well, I mean, with the GM and stuff like that, I think, you know, you respect the decision that they have to make, but, you know, you're not always going to like it. I think, you know, like you said there's a lot of, you know, you invest a lot of time in a team, and you invest a lot of, you know, kind of work, you know, all pulling for the same goal. So when you're you know, kind of so focused on that goal for a long time, I think, you know, now it changes, obviously, going to Buffalo, but with that being said, I mean, you know, you're playing hockey in the best league in the world, and I think that's nothing that you should ever take for granted. You know, there's a whole other, you know, organization with Buffalo that I'm, you know, so excited to be a part of, and so excited to help. So, you know, the goals change, and, you know, personnel changes that you're playing with, but I think, you know, the way that you play the game and the way that you know, kind of focus and prepare should. So that's just, you know, what I'm trying to do.
Definitely, and I think it's a good fit for you in Buffalo. And I know Leaf fans being rivals of Buffalo, I know maybe a little cheering on the other side, but you know what? You're going to be fit in perfectly there in Buffalo, and I think all is good. I think this will be a good fit for you going forward. Now, locally, I want to give a little publicity. Now, to my understanding, I was talking to Brett Finley, who we're planning to have on the show, along with Dom Deluca. His hockey camp starts this week and next week. Are you taking part of that, or is any kind of publicity you can give towards that?
Yeah, I'm helping out. I've helped out for the last, I don't know how many now, 3 or how many summers, but yeah, Dom's coach of mine for Bantam, along with Brett Finley, and he's a great guy. I mean, been in hockey a long time in the Sioux, and runs camps for these kids. So I'll be there at the roads Tuesday, Thursday for the next couple of weeks. So I'm looking forward to it. It's always fun to get out there and, you know, see the local town.
Definitely. Now, it's good to always give back to the community, and you're doing a big part in that. Now, Colin, I know we follow a bit more time constraints here, so I'm going to let you go. I want to say thank you for coming on by once again, and we'll definitely be in touch throughout, you know, the summer, you and I, but definitely throughout the hockey season, just for some updates and see how things are going in Buffalo.
Okay, thanks, Gary.
This is the Game Sports Show. Dave McCaig. That was Colin Miller. Sioux native Colin Miller getting traded to the Buffalo Sabres. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we've got more sports talk here on the Game Sports Show. Don't go anywhere.